All right, what's going on, y'all? Back from break last week. I know I've really been pushing. I want to upload one video every week, be consistent. I did not upload a video last week. I had a really good video planned. And it's not the video I'm gonna be doing today just because of time and everything. I wanted to get one out last week because it was post combine, pre free agency. Free agency did start today. Nothing is official. However, teams agreeing on deals with players was allowed to start today. Um, we'll get into some of that stuff in just a minute, but I did want to say that I did end up being sick last week and I just couldn't get the video recorded. I just didn't think it'd be high enough quality. I was gonna do a full 2 round mock, um, post combine pre free agency, like I said, but didn't get that out. Unfortunately, didn't get to record it. Hopefully I can get one of those out soon. But that was a really exciting video that I had, but that's all right. So, anyways, let's get into this. So sorry, I'm just looking at my phone. I might be looking at my phone here and there just because um I have I have Twitter notifications on and I keep on getting them from free agents. So all right. We are doing a 7 round mock draft on the team that I think has one free agency so far, technically. That's the Philadelphia Eagles. They went out and shockingly, very, very shockingly, signed Saquon Barkley right after DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift left at about 12:15 today, 15 minutes into free agency, going to the Chicago Bears. Um, and Saquon signed about an hour or two later, which was shocking to me, shocking to a lot of people. They also extended Landon Dickerson. That's just not today, but that was at some point. They extended Brandon Graham for a year. Then they also went out and gave Bryce Huff a big contract today. Hassan Reddick, I'm pretty sure, is exploring trade options and stuff like that, so he might be out. Julian Aquaro is a guy that's been kind of productive with Detroit the past few years. And then they got Alberto, former tight end in Denver, also. So let's go over here. Let's look at Philadelphia's depth chart. Um, so Philly has a very interesting team, in which they could go a few ways in the first round. Starting with at the top here, with their team, their wide receivers are really just AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Quez Watkins, Julio Jones, and Zacchaeus kind of all combined together, to make something happen as a wide receiver 3 unit, I would say, last year. But they're all impending free agents. I wouldn't be surprised if they did bring Quez Watkins back. I think that'd be a good move for them. Julio Jones is probably gone, and so is Zacchaeus. Joseph Nada is a guy out of Clemson that I obviously like being a Clemson fan, but he's not great. He's definitely not. I don't know if he's wide receiver 3 anywhere near that. And they've got Britton Covey too down there in the depth chart. That's a return specialist, really. So I do think wide receiver could definitely be in play this upcoming draft cycle. I don't know how much money they have left after making 2 big signings today and making those extensions. Probably not a lot. But I mean, there is some wide receivers. There's only 2 wide receivers that signed today. It was Gabe Davis and Devin Duvernay. It both went to the Jaguars, funny enough. But so there's a lot of wide receivers still out there, I guess they could go get. Looking at the offensive line, Jordan Mailata's fine, Landon Dickerson's fine. And then Cam Jurgens is expected to be the replacement for Jason Kelce, who did retire officially this past week, along with someone else that we'll get to here in a minute. But I think Dickerson and Jurgens could both play center if they needed to. I think Jurgens will be fine at center for right now. Center was definitely in question when he officially retired, especially being at 22, with our first round pick and the potential that Jackson Powers Johnson would be on the board there. Or maybe they even trade down and go get Zach Frazier also. I think guard slash center is in play though. I think that right guard spot is definitely still open. And so there's that with that, but I also think that Cam Jurgens could slide over to right guard or whatever, and they could take a center, whatever. And then right tackle Lane Johnson obviously is Lane Johnson. He's a legend. He's one of the best to ever do it at that position. However, he is getting old. He was a 2013 draft pick. Tackles don't play for a super long time, and I definitely think that drafting a Lane Johnson replacement / understudy is in play also. And I think all of these are in play in the first round. Receiver, maybe not so much, but definitely guard / center or tackle. I think they're fine with tight ends. They're obviously fine at quarterback. If you don't bring Marcus Mariota back, you could be looking at going to get a backup quarterback, but I do think they'll probably end up bringing Marcus Mariota back. And then obviously now I think you're fine at running back with bringing in Saquon. I think Kenneth Gainwell is a fine backup for a guy like Saquon. And then you've got a guy like Tyrion Davis Prince, and I don't really know who Nichols is there. Sorry, my phone buzzing again. I thought maybe something happened. And then on the defensive side of the ball, mainly plugging up the middle there, the defense tackle. They also had Fletcher Cox retired. Um, 2 days ago, I think now. So that was really big also. But they did kind of plan for that in a good way. By drafting Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the first round of the past 2 years, who have both looked amazing. So I think that they're fine there. I think they could maybe use depth there in the interior of the defense line, but I think that they're fine with starters. The edges, I think they're fine. You're still going to have Brandon Graham probably for this year. He's probably done after this year, though. You're still going to have Josh Sweat. You just went and gave Bryce Huff a bunch of money. Who knows? For all we know, Hassan Reddick could end up staying, and you still got another first round pick from last year, and Nolan Smith. And then guys like Milton Williams, Moro Ajamo, Julian Aguirre that I mentioned earlier. Teron Jackson, Terrell Lewis, bunch of guys there. And then interior backer, they do have three of their main guys from last year, Nicholas Moore, Zach Cunningham, and Shaq Leonard, all being free agents here that you can see. I just realized that was on my screen. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. So I'll exit that off. But then they did also go out and get Zach Bond today, which was not on that free agent thing. I forgot about that. Zach Bond isn't amazing, but he is a guy that is serviceable. And then Nakobe Dean, I still think is a star in the making. I think he's got so much potential to be so good. But I do think that there's a definite possibility that they end up bringing back a guy like Nicholas Morrow and or Zach Cunningham or Shaq Leonard. But I think interior backer is in play for them. And then I've been on the corner train the whole time. I know there is a guy that comes on my videos and comments that he's not a big fan of me picking a corner for them in the first round, and that's fine. That's his opinion, and I respect that. However, I do think corners in play. Darius Slay was good last year. Keely Ringo, yes, he is young. He was a rookie, and I was big on him out of last year's draft. If you watched my videos last year and you watch them again this year and you're hearing me say that, y'all know that I was really, really big on Keely Ringo last year. I think he still has the potential, but it's just that when a team is uninterested in giving him playing time and stuff like that to try to reach that potential, it just makes you think, what is the real odds here of him actually turning into a player? James Bradbury did not look good last year. Bradley Roby was in nickel role, and he's a free agent. And I know firsthand Mario Goodrich is not a guy that you want starting in the NFL. And Eli Ricks, man, he looked bad. He really did. And then safety, Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown are fine, I think. But I think that they could use I think they could use a corner, especially mainly a nickel. But I also think that you could use like depth in the secondary, depth at safety, depth at corner. And then they could also use a punter, I guess, because their punter is a free agent. Anyways, I'm gonna get over here to the simulator and I'll see y'all over there. All right, so we're here in the PFF simulator. And looking at the Eagles picks this year, they are rocking 22 in the first round, 50 in the second round from New Orleans, along with 53, which is their own pick. And then 97, which is a compensatory pick, which those were awarded this week, by the way. 160, which is from Tampa Bay, 170, which is also compensatory. I think I pronounced that correctly. Compensatory, also 171 and 210. So they are rocking 2, 4, 6, 8 total picks, 4 being within the top 100. Yeah. So, and also 2 picks that are within 3 picks of each other. Or 2 separate times really, because here and then here. So we're gonna go ahead and get this started. We are on the PFF simulator. Wow. I don't know if anybody caught that over there on the side, but Brock Bowers just went number 4 overall to the Cardinals. This is an interesting. Jerron Newton at 8. Troy Fautanu at 11. Oh my gosh. Wow. So the board's gonna be crazy. Oh man. Oh man. Now this is a beautiful board. So, in my opinion, right, I do think that you would have to consider Brian Thomas Jr. being here because of how good I think that he is. I think corner's definitely out of the picture here. I would say, man, that's tough because Olu Fashanu, I think, is really good. And I also think Jackson Powers Johnson's really good. I think Jackson Powers Johnson would make more sense for Philly because he could play center or guard. But Olu Fashanu would be a very, very good pick. Plus, he's already in the state of Pennsylvania. He'd be a great pick, even though he shouldn't be sitting a year. He'd be a great pick to have sit a year. Same with Demarius Mims. I almost want to restart this because I feel like this is unrealistic. All right, we're gonna restart this real quick. I'm gonna show y'all also while we're doing this how I set this up. I usually go draft for needs kind of higher. I kind of like it to have it like right about here. Positional value I usually take to about right here, and randomness I usually take to about right here. Just because randomness you get stuff with like what we just saw. And I'll also take the speed down to fast. Brandon McManus just signed with the Commanders. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, this is a lot more reasonable based on what I just saw. A lot more reasonable. Oh man, but that just gave us a tough board. Jaden Daniels still being here is funny. Based off this board, again, dude, you gotta consider Brian Thomas Jr. here. You have to. But I think JC Latham being here has got to be the pick. Jackson Powers Johnson off the board. I think you could consider trading back, maybe. I wonder if with Brian Thomas Jr. being here, I wonder if the Ravens would come up. I wonder what we would need here, though. I wonder if we could get 30 and 62. I want to pick up a draft pick in this draft. I wonder if we gave them 22 and 170 if we could get 30 and 62. We can. Okay, so we're going to move back here. And the reason being, well, I'm going to tell you the reason being in just a minute. They come up and get Brian Thomas Jr. Okay, now JC Latham does go off the board. Jay Daniels still being here is funny. But here's what we're going to do, right? Is so we move back here and we're going to actually go get Zach Frazier, the center out of West Virginia. I think that makes sense. Then because we do have 2 picks here. Now, Chop Robinson being on the board, you in real life, you have to take him. However, I do think you look tackle. There isn't really anybody here that I would take. Amagaji, maybe Amagaji. I might take at 53 if he's still there. I think you look corner. I think the pick has got to be Kyrie Jackson here. Jaden Hicks being on the board does interest me. Rukaroro interests me. Keon Coleman really interests me. Edgerrin Cooper interests me. There's a lot of guys here, actually. But I would rather go off needs. Oh my God, Chop Robinson being there is so nice. But I think I got to go Kyrie Jackson to get the corner. Dude, wow, Chop Robinson. Dude, I'm tempted to take Keon Coleman. Imagine having Keon Coleman and AJ Brown on the same team. But I'm also tempted to go Amagaje. But Edgerrin Cooper being here, there is more linebackers that I like. This is the last resort tackle prospect for me. And with that being said, I'm gonna go Kieran Amagaji out of Yale. Oh, and I forgot we picked up 62 here. Oh man, but all of the guys that I was very interested in just went off the board. Every single one of them, pretty much. So now we gotta find new guys to be interested in. I like Jalen Polk. What if you doubled down with Christian Hayes and you just said no, because they no. Well, Zach Frazier could replace Cam Jurgens. Christian Hayes could slot into right guard. Amagaje, hopefully you develop him for that year. He replaces Lane Johnson when he inevitably retires next year. Or I bet you my God there. I bet you my God there. What receivers here? Jalen Polk. How is Xavier Worthy still on the board? What? Obviously, I would pick Xavier Worthy. Um, if we needed a speedy receiver, but we don't really. And with that being said, I'm gonna go get my guy. He's probably still here. He is. I'm gonna take Jeremiah Trotter Jr. out of Clemson at pick 62. A guy that I don't think I've got to talk about a lot on here. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is a linebacker out of Clemson, and this might sound biased, whatever you want to say, but he is a really, really, really good linebacker. I have him slotted as linebacker 2 and a very, very close to linebacker 1 behind Edgerrin Cooper. He just flies around the field. He's a field general and he loves to play football. He loves to play football. That's probably one of the best ways I can explain it. He just gets after the ball. He can cover for the most part in like man/zone, but he can also get after you in the run game. And I really like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. out of Clemson. That is like a prayer that the Steelers can somehow get him. I'm interested in Michael Hall Jr. here. However, we've got 2 safeties sitting here. Dorian, I think is how you say it. Taylor Demerson. I might be pronouncing this first name wrong. I'm sorry if I am. Out of Texas Tech. This is a guy I haven't got to talk about a lot. He had a very, very good combine last weekend. And he has rose up on board. Sion Vaki's another guy that had a good combine. If you don't know about Sion Vaki, he was a hybrid player. He was a safety and a running back at Utah. And that just it seems like a pick that not Utah, that the Eagles would make. So we went corner, we went linebacker, we went tackle, we went center. So I do think it is down to wide receiver. I think wide receiver is definitely in play here. And I think safety's in play as like a depth. I like Jacob Cowling. We don't have another pick like for a little while. There's just a lot of wide receivers that I like down the board though, like Taj Washington, Joshua Cephas, Jordan Whittington's a good blocking wide receiver. I kind of like David White Jr. I kind of like DeCorian Clark. I kind of like Luke McCaffrey. I kind of like Cornelius Johnson. I do like Malik Washington. I think Malik Washington is a guy that could potentially fall to 160. And so with that being said, I'm going to pass on them. I'm going to go get Sion Vaki out of Utah. Again, like I said, a hybrid running back safety dual threat player out of Utah. I think it's a good pick for them at 97. And then approaching at 160, it looks like a lot of receivers went off that I could see of the board. I do think a double down somewhere could be in play. Mainly at corner. Or even wide receiver if they want one early. I think we're gonna go Luke McCaffrey here. Now there is one position that I'm entertaining here at these last 3 picks, and that's a running back. I'm interested in Dylan Johnson here. Phone's blowing up again. Um, I'm gonna go receiver. I think I'm gonna go get Luke McCaffrey. Yeah, like Joshua Cephas the best out of this. I think Jordan Whittington makes a lot of sense too, though. And I think we could get Josh Cephas later. I'm gonna go get. Dude, do I go get James Williams here? I know that might seem stupid. I'm gonna go with. Man, this is a tough pick. Who is? I haven't heard too much about Isaiah Williams. Let's see what he's about. 5'10", 180. So I guess he's a. I'm gonna assume he's a speedster. Slot guy. Yep. Which they could use a slot guy though. That's the thing. Devontae Smith is a speed deep threat guy, but he's not a slot receiver. I'm gonna take this kid. I think I'm gonna take this kid, Isaiah Wood. No, but would it not make sense to take Josh Cephas then? Well, he got. I'm going Josh Cephas. I like him too much to not take him here. I know it looks like a reach on the board and everything, but oh Jesus Christ. Oh no. All right, we're back up here at 171. Um, I'm gonna take it. Um, BPA. Go. I'm gonna go Jaheim Bell. I think. No, I'm not. I'm gonna double down at corner with Nehemiah Pritchett. Kamal Haddon. I kind of like. Wow, Marcellus I think I'm gonna double down with Nehemiah Pritchett out of Auburn. Not the best pick, but it's serviceable. And then at 210, I'm gonna take a draft pick if he doesn't get drafted before then. I don't think I've seen his name. I should want running back there. I kind of like entertaining running back. Oh, I didn't go D line any. Oh man, I could go D line here, just BPA with Keith Randolph Jr. I do like Gabe Hall too. But I'm gonna double down at receiver too. I'm gonna take Jordan Whittington out of Texas. If you don't know about Jordan Whittington, he wasn't the best receiving receiver at Tennessee this past year. However, that man can block. And I think that would be a good idea to bring him into Philly, that a team that you're primarily only going to be throwing the ball to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith anyways and Dallas Goedert. And a team that likes to run the ball, you can bring in a guy that can block very well. So we're gonna do our usual. We are gonna run two super quick. It is late. I am tired. I do want to try to hurry up here. But we're gonna go over this one a little more in depth here. So we did trade back. We went from 22 to 30 to start this draft. We also threw 170 in there to acquire 62. At 30, we did take Zach Frazier, the Jason Kelce official replacement. He would probably be your day one starter at center. Cam Jurgens, you might bump over to right guard, which you don't really have anybody there right now. Tyler Steen, maybe. And that's not who, in my opinion, you won't play in right guard. Kyrie Jackson's going to slot in, probably potentially in that nickel corner spot that you have open right now. If not, he's probably your James Bradbury replacement after this year, unless James Bradbury does turn it back around. I was not impressed with him this year, though. You got Kieran Amagaji, who you hope you can put there behind Lane Johnson for a year and develop out of Yale. We got a guy that I talked about, Jeremiah Charter Jr., that I like a lot to come in that linebacker room, especially if you don't get some of those impending free agents back. Sion Vaki, again, hybrid running back safety out of Utah, coming in just as a depth piece in that safety room with Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship. The Carolina Panthers are expected to sign Damian Lewis from the Seahawks. Okay. Sorry. Joshua Cephas is coming in to play a slot role for you on on the offensive side of the ball. And then Nehemiah Pritchett is just a double down, late round pick, depth piece at the corner position. And then Jordan Winston, like I said, is a guy that you're bringing in there mainly in blocking schemes, maybe, or at least that's what you hope to develop. And then we're gonna do the usual, like I said. We're gonna run one more super fast, turbo. We're just going to keep the settings how they are. Eagles, 7th round. Let's get into it. Let's start the draft. Don't even know who's going to be on the board. Let's see who's there. Olu Fashanu is there again. Oh, that's such a tough pick, but I'm gonna go JPJ. I'm gonna go Jackson Powers Johnson. I am. I'm gonna go Jackson Powers Johnson. He can play center or guard, whichever one you want him to play. Kamari Lassiter still being here has got to be the pick, right? Georgia ties, corner. Love it. Come on, nobody take Keon Coleman. Nobody did. Awesome. And then we're gonna double that down with Keon Coleman here. That's a sick, that's a dirty, dirty move, and I love it. Wow, Keon Coleman. This is a good draft so far. And I want to be a little different here. So, oh no, I'm not. Oh no, I'm not. I know I just took Kamari Lassiter, but Chris Abrams Drain. There we go. Could definitely be that nickel corner off rip. John Simpson signed with the Jets. Interesting. I'm gonna be different. Instead of taking Sion Wagner here, even though I do want to take Taylor Dimerson to show respect to his combine performance, I'm gonna take a guy that I really like there at 97. Michael Hall Jr. out of Ohio State, especially considering we did not go defensive line last draft. And I had talked about defensive line needing some depth there. And I think that's really good depth in my opinion. So we've went receiver, even though it wasn't a slot guy, it's a deep threat. But you could easily move around Devontae and AJ Brown. We went corner, we went receiver, we went center / guard, wherever you want Jackson Powers Johnson to play. We went defensive line. I think tackle could be in play here. I think safety could be in play here. Tackles, I'm not sure about some of these guys down here. I think Javon Foster isn't terrible. Oh, he had good grades this year too. We're going Javon Foster out of Missouri. Why not? And then we got a few more picks. We got a guy that I flirted with last time, Jaheim Bell here, tight end out of Florida State, back to back. Let's look at the safeties. Who we got? James Williams, Jalen Simpson. Okay, no James Williams, just Jalen Simpson. We're gonna take him out of Auburn. Second DB we're taking out of Auburn in this draft, huh? And then corner safety backer. We didn't go back. No, all my guys are gonna be gone. Yeah, they are. We're gonna take my man. What about Jalen Ford? What do we know about Jalen Ford? Good run defense. Everything else not too good. Curtis Jacobs. Good pass rusher. What was BPA though? Who would that be? Frank Core Jr. That's a funny pick. You know what? We'll bring him in again, I guess. Joshua Cephas, welcome to Philadelphia for the second time. You know, wanted to try to be different, but that's how it works. That's how the cards fell into our hands. All right, so that is my Philadelphia Eagles 7-round mock draft video. On that second mock draft that we ran here, we did go Jackson Powers Johnson to slot in either at center or guard. I do think he could play guard. I do think he could be that right guard for you. Or you want to slot him in at center again. Same thing as Zach Frazier. Slot Cam Jurgens over there at right guard. Instead, Kamari Lassiter is going to come in. I think he have an impact in the corner room immediately. Same with Keon Coleman in that wide receiver room. Michael Hall Jr. I think would be very good depth. I think he could even maybe slide to the outside a little bit and play from the edge. Javon Foster is a guy to come in there. Maybe you can develop him for all we know. Jaheim Bell, probably like your tight end 2, maybe 3. Jalen Simpson, again, safety depth, Joshua Cephas, wide receiver depth on top of Keon Coleman, and a slot guy that you could, play in there in the slot role. So that is my Philadelphia Eagles full 7-round mock draft. I think it's my first time I've ever done Eagles as the only team. I'm excited. I'm glad to be back. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I will see y'all next week. Post free agency. Well, not really post free agency, but we'll be a weekend. A lot of guys will be off the board. But yeah, I'll see y'all there. Yeah, and I'll see you next time. Appreciate all the support. Peace.